Hey guys, this is Kami Ken, and today I'm going to talk about how a manga's one-shot is the minimum viable product of the entire story as a whole. In business, there's a term called MVP, or minimum viable product, which is the prototype version of a story, or maybe a pilot episode if you were to refer to manga terms or show terms. A minimum viable product is the least, it has no frills. It's just the most basic version of a creation, like an invention or the first version of your business. It doesn't have any of the fancy layouts. It doesn't have any of the frills. It doesn't have any extra things on top of it. It's just the most basic version that works, that people might like. And this is genius. It is the way manga does it is so genius. It's like they figured out everything before we even got to it. You know what I mean? Like, they already figured out that to do it in black and white makes it that much quicker to get out the work. But then to do a one shot with enough pages, that maybe 45 to 56, even more than that, to allow the reader to get in touch with the characters on a level and get in touch with the creator, the writer themselves, to see, is this a story that I would want to follow along with? Is this a story that I would want to continue investing time and energy into? And that is one of the best ways to launch a new series. A lot of the problem with series in the past, and especially with the work that I've done and even the work I'm doing now, is that it's not really tested. It's not really there's no real way to test if people will like it until you create the most basic version of it, put it out there, and then see what people think. With Air Rider, I only knew vaguely that people kind of like the, I guess, kids next door style. They like cartoons and that kind of thing, and I was only going off my taste, like just what I like to create, what I like to draw. And that's how I started Air Rider. I was just like, okay, this is what I like to do. I'm gonna draw a comic book about a guy who rides a skateboard and has kind of like a pilot thing. Nobody was asking for this. I was just like, okay, this is a story that I have in my heart, and I want to draw it so that people can see what I have inside me. And it came out to a decent success on Kickstarter. And I think people like the story well enough because it was executed well. But I have to, if I'm going to make something even better than this, if I'm going to make something that connects to audiences even more than this, I'm going to have to focus on making a minimum viable product with the next piece of work that allows people to get in touch with the characters before investing in an entire series of a creation. Where, let's say I had this whole entire story thought out, which I do, and people want to know whether they should invest their time or energy into it. I would create a black and white, maybe 40 to 50 page story where people will see, like, okay, this is what this story is about. And I would take the feedback. I would see what real feedback people have to give me. I would take what they're saying, apply it to the full version of the story, and then make it that much better than the original. It was the same with Naruto. It was the same with One Piece. It was the same with Dragon Ball. Like, there were all these little quirks and things that they had to tinker with in the original version before they took all those elements out that people didn't like, and then made it into something better, made it into the final thing that you see going forward. And I wish that could be the same way with Saintley. I've made 31 pages so far of the story, and it is in black and white right now, and I'm coloring it because that's what I'm contractually obligated to do in this situation. But if I had my way, I would put it out in black and white, get people's feedback on it, and I would redraw it, but faster. I would redraw it again and make it even better than the first version. But I don't really have the luxury of time, so I'm just gonna have to get it out there as fast as possible, with just knowing that the person who is investing in it saw the potential in it before they put their money down. So it's like they saw the idea for the story and they were like, okay, this is something that actually will sell if you do it right. And they knew enough about it to invest in it right there. So I was like, okay, even without me creating a minimum viable product, just on the face of the story, people are interested. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to develop this story to be an entire graphic novel, and that's what the deal is with this story. It's going to be an entire graphic novel, and with this 31 pages of story, I'm going to see what people react to, what they like, and take what I learned from that first issue that I put out, and then use it on the following issues, and just try to improve it and make it better, and keep it going from there. But yeah, that's just how they do things in the manga world, and I think they used to do the same thing in American comics, but not to as, let's say, as intense a degree. It's more like we're gonna do a one-shot story, and then sometimes they become popular enough to do a longer form thing. But most the comic industry in America is not at all like they have in Japan. We don't really have super long runs on comics these days like we used to in the past, like Ultimate Spider-Man, or like Powers, or well, those were the only two that come to mind right off the bat. But yeah, we don't really have super long runs like that anymore. And I'd like to see that make a return one day. But yeah, this is the same principle with like webcomics online, like being posted on social media, where people will read the social media, like the little snippet that you see on social media, and then they'll start to get familiar with the characters and they want to invest more. So yeah, I feel like that's the best way for creators to try to launch their series. They do a soft launch with the first version, like the prototype version, and then come back and using reader feedback or an editor, they improve the story, make it better, and then launch it again, and then get the full effect that they're looking for. So I hope to do that more in the future with like future projects, but I have to increase my speed to get this one out a lot faster. So that's what I'm going to be working on, and I hope you guys check it out in the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.